we're back with the final installment of your HissssStory lesson on the items that we looked at yesterday. So I couldn't find any wacky page on the Nelson-Atkins Museum of Art. Seems like they have, or the museum itself has a monopoly on the information. So we're gonna, once again, get the information from the horse's mouth. And I found this little article here on their website from 2017. How Kansas City got its magnificent museum. Let's take a look. And by the way, just looking at this photo, there's always going to be some truths in here as far as some of the artifacts that they have, in my opinion, belonging to the old world, which you can see in the insane intricacy in just about everything. Dazzling museum collections are found in some unlikely cities across the U.S. How did they get there? Here's how it happened in Kansas City in the Midwest state of Missouri. When a fortune left by William Rockwell Nelson, 1841 to 1915, to buy art for public enjoyment, was released to the board of what would become Nelson-Atkins Museum. The only other U.S. museum with equivalent funds was the Metropolitan Museum of New York. It was the 1930s. The Great Depression was in full effect. The global art market was flooded with bargains, but there were few buyers. The board's experts and curators went on a monumental shopping spree. The acquisitions continued for years. The money never ran out. From Lawrence Sickman's Asian triumphs to Patrick Keller's European ones, while enlightened first director Paul Garden initiated weekly late-night openings and lectures in 1934 to entice local people to come and enjoy it all. Hence the collection, one of America's finest, and the museum's central position in Kansas City cultural life today. Wow. All right, let me take a breath here. Why are these always written like tongue twisters? I'm not going to read this entire thing, but there are a few things on here that I find a little humorous. So before we look closely at the museum, let's backtrack and look at Kansas City and its general reputation. That is what you might already know, that it was established in 1833 by the son of a Baptist ministry, John McCoy, whose general store was the last stop before wild territory to the west, into which the United States was expanding along the Santa Fe Trail, California, and Oregon trails. A can-do free spirit still pervades the city. That's right. They go on to talk about, barbecue and jazz and certain baseball leagues and, of course, Harry S. Truman. All right, we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of the thing here pretty quick. In Kansas City, sprawling, unpretentious suburbia where quiet roads service family houses and tree-shaded gardens, our rush hour lasts 15 minutes, said one local. Such individual philanthropy and commitment to the city have always been important. The museum's history begins with a local school teacher, Mary McAfee Atkins, whose wealth stemmed from her husband's real estate success. Upon her departure in 1911, she left 300,000 to build a museum. By 1927, the museum still not begun. The sum had increased to the then vast sum of 700,000. Her bequest was combined with that of William Rockhill Nelson, and in 1930 work on the Nelson-Atkins Museum began. So they started to construct this in the 1930s, is what they're alleging, with $700,000. The elegant arts building, designed by the city's favorite architect practice, White and White, opened its doors in December 1933. So they built this in 3 years. You guys saw this thing, and we haven't even looked at the inside yet. Its facade has a splendid string of panels by New York sculptor Charles Keck, showing wagon trains of brave families heading out west into the unknown. Inside, so monumental and beautiful, is the building's double-height, columned main hall that is the setting for Kansas City's annual Debutante Dance, the Jewel Ball. The local Kemper family support this event and much else in the city, including the Kemper Museum of Contemporary Art, a nearby gym whose dynamic program is matched by Chicago artist Frederick J. Brown's bold decorations of its cafe walls. So there's the Kemper name again. And let's see here. Not really sure. Much more narrative is needed. We're talking about a 3-year build here on this incredible structure. Something else that I seem to be noticing as I look into this sort of stuff, the parties involved usually seem to depart from this place either before or shortly after these are constructed. And I also just learned something else down here. Where was it? Today, local philanthropy continues with gusto at the Nelson-Atkins. This year, 2 transformative gifts by Kansas City natives, Marion and Henry Block, came to fruition. Henry Block and his brother made their fortune in typical Kansas City fashion by at first helping friends prepare their tax returns at $5 at a time. Their company, H&R Block, changed the spelling so that their name would be pronounced correctly, would become the country's biggest tax servicer. Henry was nicknamed America's Taxman. So these brothers here made their fortune by helping friends prepare their taxes at a low cost, I guess, at $5 a pop. How many friends did the Block brothers have exactly? Anyways, that was just something else I found interesting because I was not really aware that the Blocks were Kansas City natives. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this little bit of information here. And once again, thank you for your time, and I will see you on the next one.